disrupted.
America that I fought.
Weird thing to happen. Hello, one and all. Welcome to this edition of Kitz Corner. It's been a fantastic day so far. So we have new messaging from the WEF, and don't worry, it's not Klaus Schwab this time again. The toilet bowl cleaner, evil psychopath. But another deranged psychopath, because who else would be working at the World Economic Forum than total sociopath, dominating freaks that don't really care about anything about society, and are just doing this involved for themselves. So, Wide Awake Media points this out. It says the World Economic Forum agenda contributor. What a lovely job title that must be. Marina Mazzucato. Mazzucato. Sure, we'll go with that. Our attempt to vaccinate the entire planet failed. Climate change is too abstract for people to understand, but the coming water crisis is something that everyone will get on board with. So basically, the WEF is running out of ways to scare people. They tried to vaccinate people, it didn't work out. They tried pushing climate change, people are getting skeptical about that. They tried to undermine people's democracy, that didn't work out. So now what are we going to do? And here's the contributor of the agenda pointing this out.
COVID, right? We are all only as healthy as our neighbor is on our street, in our city, in our region, in our nation, and globally. And did we solve that? Like, did we actually manage to vaccinate everyone in the world? No. So highlighting water as a global commons and what it means to work together and see it both out of that kind of global commons perspective, but also the self-interest perspective, because it does have that parallel. It's not only important, but it's also important because we haven't managed to solve those problems which had similar attributes. And water is something that people understand. You know, climate change is a bit abstract. Some people understand it really well. Some understand it a bit. Some just don't understand it. Water, every kid knows how important it is to have water. When you're playing football and you're thirsty, you need water. So there's also something about really getting citizen engagement around this and really, in some ways, experimenting with this notion of the common good. Can we actually deliver this time in ways that we have failed miserably other times? And hopefully we won't keep failing on the other things, but anyway.
Can we keep delivering, like, so we don't fail the times we did beforehand? I'm curious of what they're trying to deliver, what they're trying to experiment for this upcoming water crisis. I'm really conflicted about this, because we know that drinking water is a value. We understand that drinking water is very important. That's nothing that needs to be said. It's understandable. It's barely without words. We all know the importance of water. It's part of our natural survival instinct to have fresh water and to have clean air and to be able to provide oxygen. That's why we do everything that we can to maintain that level. So that's already taken place. But why is the WEF so hyper-focused now about the upcoming water crisis? Well, they're already writing articles about this. This is from the BBC. This is from back in 2021. Saying they're finding the answers to the world's drinking water crisis. And I'm sure the answers are right at the bottom of Nestle. Oh, they don't bring that up? They don't mention, large corporations hijacking drinking water and town water to sell it at a high market value? No, that's not the importance there. I'm sure that's how they're going to resolve it. But the BBC says, without a doubt, water is the most important, abundant resource on Earth. After all, it covers over 70% of the planet. Yet, despite this warning, we are facing a looming crisis as a species. Climate change, global conflict, and overpopulation are just some of the factors that are devastating the water supply in many areas around the world. It means that 2 billion people, 1/4 of the human population, are without access to safe drinking water. As the world's population creeps over closer to 8 billion, attention is being focused on developing technologies that would help address this before it's too late. One of those offering a potential solution is Michael Mirolashvili, head of Watergen, a Israel-based firm that is using its air-to-water technology to deliver the drinking water to remote areas of the world hit by conflict or climate change. Water is a basic human right, and yet millions don't have access to it, he tells the BBC. Pulling water out of thin air may sound like science fiction, but the technology is actually simpler than what it seems. The Earth's atmosphere contains 13 billion tons of fresh water. Watergen's machines work by filtering this water vapor out of the air. He says, if used correctly, Watergen's technology could spark a major shift within the water industry that could have been lasting impact on the planet. A big advantage of using atmospheric water is that there's no need to build water transportation. So no worries about heavy metals in pipes, for example, or cleaning contaminated water from the ground or polluting the planet with plastic bottles. But again, they don't go after Nestle. They don't go after the people that are polluting the water supply. They don't go after the people responsible for the Nord Stream pipeline explosion that has sent contaminants into the water. They don't go after BP for the oil spill and the gas that's led into oceans. They don't mention any of that. They don't even mention Flint, Michigan, and their decade-long battle for clean, sustainable water. But they're going to trust an Israeli tech company to harvest water from the air. That you'll get clean water as long as you pay them probably $10 million for the prototype. That's what I'm assuming. One obvious obstacle that would appear to be air pollution, which has become widespread cause for concern in some of the world's major cities. In the UK, for example, research by Imperial College London found lead, which is toxic to the human body, is still present in the city's air in 2021, despite being banned in 1999. However, this may not matter. A study conducted by scientists from Israel's Tel Aviv University found that even in urban areas such as Tel Aviv, which is possible to extract drinking water to a standard set by the World Health Organization, they're a trusted bunch. In other words, clean water can be converted from air that is dirty or polluted. So why are we not creating technology that filters dirty water into regular water? Like, do you see the concept here? Do you see how I'm skeptical about this, how ridiculous this sounds? It's like when fossil fuel companies are pledging billions of dollars for carbon capture technology. I hear this all the time on the radio. You know, I live in Canada. I hear it on the radio that like Petro-Canada or Esso or Shell is, investing millions and billions of dollars into carbon capture technology. And what that means is that they're going to build these containers, literally look like metal containers, that are going to suck out the carbon out of their production facilities and just store it in this box. But the funny thing about that is that it's going to cut back the carbon, but it's not going to produce oxygen. You know what does, though? And it's a cheaper, more feasible way of converting CO2 to oxygen? Planting more trees. You know, that's the crazy mindset that I have, is that maybe if we plant more trees, more vegetation, stop demonizing farmers and actually help them to create more vegetation, that would actually take some of the carbon dioxide, the excess carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, and create more oxygen, which is actually cleaning the earth. Just like how maybe if we just stop polluting and go after the polluters and, go after the Nord Stream pipeline explosion, investigate the Flint water crisis, that maybe that'd be a better alternative than waiting 10 more years for a tech billionaire to release a prototype of trying to get water from the air. Like, it's so ridiculous. Absolutely so goddamn ridiculous how crazy this is. And also, you gotta be skeptical because the fact that this is tied with the World Health Organization, this is tied with other NGOs. Like, you gotta be wary of that, especially post-COVID, knowing about Bill Gates and his connection with all these medical industries. You have to be stern and have a grain of salt every time you see those names pop up and being associated with it. Um, it says WaterGen's largest machines can provide 6,000 liters of water in a day. It has already been used to support entire hospitals in the Gaza Strip and rural villages in Central Africa, where people have otherwise have to walk hours to find water. It has also helped Australia's government battle devastating bushfires in 2020 that killed 34 people and destroyed 3,500 homes. Gee, if only Hawaii thought of this when it came to the Maui fires. Or BC did when it came to their fires. They just turned off the water. That was how they saved it. They just let everything burn to the ground. Oh, we don't have enough water for you. We'll just cut it off. That's how we saved the water. You know, for emergencies. So they say. According to the World Health Organization, more than 2 billion people only have access to water that is contaminated with feces. Just more than SIP puts them at risk of illness such as cholera and typhoid. It estimates that about 500,000 people a year die as a result. When it comes to finding clean water, there is a resource in our oceans. Icebergs contain some of the world's purest water, as glaciers come in the form of thousands of years ago. The giant blocks of ice can be hazard to shipping and can cause damage marine ecosystems. With huge volumes of fresh water, they can melt. Harvesting them from profits first began in Canada, where it has become a big business alongside the country's east coast, but the practice has now reached other parts of the world. So, I feel like this is a scam. I feel like this is a bit of a scam. And I don't want to put my foot down or jump completely on the bandwagon. So I'm just saying this from my first observation and just how even the wording just kind of seems suspicious, and my thought process, just like how carbon capture, they're building all these carbon capture devices, even though we could be planting trees and trees would actually be more beneficial because it provides oxygen. Like, why are we not just cleaning up our riverways? Why are we not, investing more in purification models that, every city could be using? Why are we not investing more in the Flint, Michigan water crisis? Like, there's stuff that we're already trying to do right now, that they're stomping on, that they're trying to destroy, that they're trying to manipulate on. And then something like this comes around and it's just an absolute chaotic thing. So, I don't know. Some people may think differently. I just think that this is kind of suspicious. Let's just say that. That's a bit suspicious that the World Economic Forum is all of a sudden concerned about water and they're spending money on investors to create prototypes of these machines that are going to harvest water out of the sky, even though we could be investing money and actually be a cheaper alternative, just cleaning up the water that we have. Just saying.